Hi everyone. Today I am with Michael Grange from Keynes in Bedford. He's an accountant and is giving us a bit of insight into what's been going on in his world recently. Say hi, Michael.
Hello everyone.
Awesome. Thank you ever so much for joining us. So, how's it going? What's going down?
Nothing much.
Why
Just been
pandemic?
just apart from quite big news. No, it's been well. I think I speak for all accountants that I know. It's been an incredibly busy time, a very challenging time as well. Obviously, we rely on the success of our clients, and when something like this comes along, we just have to act as support. Really, we've gone from a job where we plan everything, tax planning, with existing rules, lots of guidance, to a very reactive situation in a lot of cases where new rules have been presented to us, firstly through tweets, obviously as a release of information, then the more detailed guidance comes out, and obviously at different times we're going in slightly different directions from maybe where we thought we were initially. Even though you do get delays and deferments on your tax liabilities in certain instances, we've definitely still had to maintain our workload because returns have got to be filed. For instance, VAT, you don't have to pay it, but you still have to file. So we've had our normal workload, as I would say, and the normal scheduled planning that we've got going forwards with our clients, and also in addition, the slightly larger C-bills loans, the business bounce back loans, obviously all the payroll with the furlough side of things. So it's been a big challenge. We're a small firm. There's only 11 of us in the Bedford office. We do have a sister office in Luton as well, of a similar size. And it's been very difficult to keep abreast of it all. And obviously clients are desperately trying to get hold of you at different times because this is happening in real time. And every time you see the news, there's scare stories, or another big business struggling. We are general practitioners as well, so that's good because we've got a vast range of industries and individuals that we work for, so we're not actually targeted in that respect. We have kind of spread our risk, but that also means we've got a lot of questions on lots of different subjects, and quite rightly so, clients expect us to be experts really quickly. So it's been really challenging. So certainly in my near 20-year career, as you just kindly reminded me of, it's been certainly one of the hardest, without a shadow of doubt. So, but I touch wood, most importantly, all the clients and staff that at the moment are fit and healthy, and we've got some very good clients, and they're being quite vigorous at this moment. So no massive problems on the horizon at the moment. Touch wood, yeah. Touch wood.
So I mean, we were having a bit of a conversation about this. So obviously you were around and running an accountant back when the financial crisis hit, and my business was going, and also we saw what happened when the financial crisis hit, and it was very interesting actually. There was a lot of new businesses that started up. How do you think it compares with kind of that, I suppose?
Again, another challenging period it's probably that and the pandemic have been the two challenging times in the last 20 years. And I feel when you speak to people, it feels a little bit out of control. We don't seem to have, there's very little you can plan for. I think the financial crisis, I think we did get wind of that a little bit more maybe than the pandemic side of things. They're obviously different, but they are the same. Obviously, it's how is it going to affect my business? What can you do to help me? Are we on the right lines, thinking the way we are? It all comes down to, from my role as an accountant, and I think you also have a fear from clients that we're racking up big fees with you because your charge out rate is X, or, we're spending a lot of time with Michael going through things. But from our perspective, we're just here as a support and a sounding board for people. I'm really working on the assumption, hopefully everyone's fit and well. That is the number one thing. And then number two, it's making sure we're having these conversations next year, and we've battled through an incredibly difficult period of time altogether. I'm not desperately making massive, I know there are other people that are making money, they always do, with extra charges and extra services, that's fine. But that's their choice. I've been more in the supporting clients, trying to help as much as possible, because this is when you actually need someone. And I'm very lucky that I've got a good depth of experience in my background that I can help on loads of different matters. And where I can't, and you need specialist advice, I've got some really good people I can refer to as well. So, like I say, it's been challenging. I think in relation to the 2008 crisis, again, it's been a lot more contact with the banks, and I'm very lucky that a lot of my clients are quite cash rich in that respect. I've got quite a low risk, prudent list, if the truth be told. So we're quite resilient before we start, which is how I like to have things. But yeah, it again something that feels, I think, to everybody totally out of your control, and it can be a bit mind-boggling. And I think sometimes people just want to pick up the phone and feel like they're being listened to, and now what can you do? And I think that's where our role is at the moment. I've certainly been acting predominantly for the clients I've got at the moment. I am very much interested in trying to build a list and trying to meet good people, but at the moment I am really focusing on the ones I've got at the moment, because that's what matters to me. So yeah, it's been hopefully we're getting over this now. Hopefully we're heading into calmer waters.
Hopefully. I have to say, I've been finding kind of myself, you do kind of go, oh, what might happen next, and you can actually get a bit, everybody talks about being zoomed out. You can actually get a bit planned out a little bit, because you just can't. You just, I mean, with Buzz, for instance, we were starting to sort of think, oh, maybe we could start to have kind of face-to-face events again. There was talk of people of 30 or so, over 30, groups of over 30, being able to meet at the end of October. I don't think that's going to happen now.
Not at the moment, no. And we're keeping we are a business in ourselves, of course, so we've got to keep our staff, number one priority is keeping ourselves and our staff fit and healthy. And so we're not actually having meetings in the office at the moment. We're doing a lot of Zooms and Teams. We are meeting people. I am slowly meeting people out and around, because that's part of my role to do that. But yeah, we've also got to, we've also, as all businesses, got another load of compliance put on top to make sure that everyone's nicely distanced and and comfortable working from home. We're very lucky that we've got a really great staff anyway, and everyone's worked from home really, really well. So that hasn't affected us efficiencies wise, or if anything, it's possibly improved us in that respect. So you do miss going to the office. I was going to say, so you miss the interaction and the contact with people, because you can go from one screen to the next screen to the next screen, and it gets a little bit robotic, I suppose. But it's all about just staying safe at the moment. So
I mean, I imagine actually making tax digital has probably made all of this for everyone much easier, hasn't it, in some ways?
The cloud in itself, if you haven't embraced that now, as I mean most larger businesses have, and the people that are caught under the VAT filing side of things, if you haven't embraced it now, this really must be the time to do it, I would have thought, because it's when we can log in anywhere and see your records with your permission. So I do actually have a client based in Uruguay, and we speak more through WhatsApp and through Zero than we do some clients I've got in Bedford. So the technology is amazing. I think as with all things, it's got limits. It's not the greatest thing in the world. It's only as good as what you're putting in and how it's being monitored. And you've still got to understand it at the end. You can produce figures, but what do they mean? And that's probably where your accountant is coming in more and more now, more as a business advisor than actually doing the nuts and bolts and the bookkeeping. Although, of course, we do that for clients as well. So.
Of course.
Can't leave that.
Okay, so I mean, like you just said, you've got a client in Uruguay. I know you spent, or before all this, you were spending a reasonable amount of time in London with clients and things in various different places. So you're kind of dealing all over, everywhere. Who's doing well at the moment? Who are the industries that you think kind of actually, I'm quite pleased I've got them as a client right now?
We've got a client who's got a contract with a personal protection equipment, which are doing very well. I think overall, it's the people that can be resilient, of course, because they've got strong businesses. and also that can be a bit agile and take advantage of some opportunities. That doesn't necessarily mean buying businesses and doing some big things, but actually just doing things at the moment that are relevant. Um, I think if you get stuck just doing what you're doing, and that you think I can only do this, then maybe there is an opportunity to go in a slightly different direction. I have had a number of startups start with me since March, where people have come from like a big firm background, obviously worried, either taken redundancy or worried about that coming up in the future, and they want to be a bit more in control of their own affairs. So this, I think it's given everyone a time for reflection. Maybe not the accountants so much, because we seem to be drowning in work, but other people where maybe there's been a small pause on your business, where is this actually what I want to do, and is it going in the right direction, and am I getting the right advice, be it legal, accountancy, whichever way around it, am I getting the support? Because it's not just a case of doing your returns, it's actually trying to work out whether you actually want to do this. Is it worthwhile? And it's obviously part of that is making sure your tax planning is in place and everything else. So yeah, I've seen probably 10 people now start up businesses. Now they all seem good ideas. The proof is always in the pudding. You've always got to give them a fair period of time. But I'm pretty confident they're good individuals in every case, and hopefully, we as a firm will reap the benefits of a long-term relationship with them. So, but at the moment, that's another time for additional support, holding people's hands at the start of their business, because that's it's important you get all the foundations in properly. It is the boring bits at the start that make all the difference.
Yeah, I think we're seeing similar. We're getting quite a few people coming to us starting up businesses. Strangely, ones that actually contacted us like a year or two ago and have now come back and gone, yeah, I'm ready to do this now. I'm like, really?
Well, my role is trying to bring part of my role is trying to bring good new clients into the business, and I've got one or two that have crystallized right in the middle of all this, and I'm like, how you've picked this as the time to do it, that's fine, but you're more than welcome to join. So I think it's just been a huge event, hasn't it? Let's be honest, a huge time, and I think a period of reflection is true. I think we've looked at it as well at Keynes. I think we're working from home. We've always had a lot of autonomy with what we're doing ourselves, but I think trying to streamline things as much as possible just to make it as effective as possible for people. So yeah, it's been a very interesting one.
So are there any industries that you're dealing with that are kind of, obviously there are a lot of industries that are struggling? Are there any ones that you've kind of like gone, I wasn't expecting that? Or
no, I do have quite a large number of clients in nightclubs and hospitality and bars and restaurants. So obviously that's been very difficult at the moment. They're all really good businesses and brands. So at the moment we're okay to a degree. Obviously there's only so long that can go on with, and hopefully the government will continue to support and promote that, because it's a massive area of our economy that we're just draconianly shutting down at different times. Be it for very good reasons or non-good reasons. So they're obviously struggling. There's no doubt about that. We need to get the tills open in that respect. But for the other ones, they're doing what they can. I think everyone's watching the costs, which is always a case, and just seeing what like us all, what we're spending a lot of time on. Is it actually going to be profitable in the end, and are we wasting our time? And that's the case, I think, in all businesses, possibly more focus now than it has been. So yeah, it's been a very interesting time, but I feel I've never felt as close to my clients as I do now. I care about all of my ones that I look after, and I like to think that they're getting the support that they need all the way through this, fingers crossed. And hopefully, given a fair wind, especially come the new year, hopefully we can start talking about more positive things and not just reacting to COVID regulations. So
cool. And anything kind of that you see in the future for either Keynes or your customers? What you kind of any?
Well, we're always looking for good people, Lee. So that's
okay.
always open to. have a conversation with anybody about whether we could help them. We're quite picky. We don't take on everybody. You have to be good to become a client of ours. That's why you're with us. So it's one of those times. We are really focusing at the moment on our existing client base, like I think like all practitioners are really. But yeah, I think there is scope for people moving and new opportunities. And of course, always happy to have a cup of coffee at some stage or a Zoom just to see what people are up to and if I could help at any stage.
Cool, lovely. Well, thank you very much. I mean, I suppose the last thing would be if somebody is kind of not quite sure where they are in their business, what's the first thing they should be looking at to kind of improve on in how they're doing their books or whatever?
Well, the first thing is, are you realistically going to make any money from this? What is it, a side project that we're doing on a Sunday afternoon, or is it a Monday to Friday job? Can we pay the mortgage? Can we, there are different types of businesses. Now you can help both of them. There's nothing wrong with, and lots of people now have got multiple things making up one, as part of the gig economy. That's absolutely fine. Firstly, as with all things, are you going to enjoy doing this? Because being at work and it's a long time. It's okay if you're maybe making some money out of it, but if you're spending a lot of time at something that you're not making any money at and it's awful, then maybe we're not looking in the right direction. But first things first is to get a plan of what you're trying to do, and it's always good to sit down with an accountant, someone that wants to sort of go through the whole thing. There's lots of compliance and lots of little things that can be set up at the start that make things a lot easier in later years, and maybe they can give you a steer on maybe you've got 80% of the right idea and you haven't quite thought of the last 20%, and I think most practitioners would help you with that as well. So speak to someone, make sure you're on the right track to go with. It doesn't always involve hundreds of thousands of pounds of fees. It doesn't work like that, because a good accountant should be with you all the way through your business journey, right from the start to the end, if everything goes to plan. And it's just, if anyone's got a great plan or wants to restart their career, more than happy to have a conversation with them, of course. So but yeah, just make sure just start off with, just make sure you're everything's in the most compliant place as possible, with company registrations, VAT registrations, payrolls, other things like that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Michael. It was lovely chatting to you. Thank you for joining us today, and we will speak again soon.